start with talking about big ideas. You speak about the fact that that's what you want to achieve, big ideas, which you're kind of known for, trying to reform Medicare and Medicaid, the tax code,
right.
Immigration reform you talked about in the past. But this is not a place where you can get big ideas done.
Oh,
how do you change that?
I completely disagree with that.
When was the last big idea?
This is the people's house.
Right.
This is where people come to serve their country. And if you don't like the direction the country is headed, then you have an obligation to the people of this country that sent you here.
That's true historically, but how
right.
in recent years it hasn't happened.
Exactly right. That's why I said this speakership has to be differently. I cannot pick up where John left off. That is why, in discussing this with my House Republican colleagues, we all concluded jointly that this has to be done differently. So that's why we're wiping the slate clean. It's a new day. And we're going to go offense on ideas. We have to be a proposition party, an alternative party. That's where big ideas come from. We've been too timid for too long around here, and that is because we have not given people a sense of what we can do differently, how we can fix these problems, where we would go if we give them the chance. And that is what we have to do.
How are you going to control the 40 or so members of that so-called Freedom Caucus in a way that John Boehner couldn't?
Well, I think members were frustrated that they did not have really the opportunity to express their own views on the floor. I think the legislative process has been too tightly controlled and has to be reopened up. I want members of Congress representing their constituents having the ability in the process to actually advance ideas. So I think that frustration is frustration that I shared actually as a House Republican before becoming Speaker. And I think that's what our members want to see us do more of. And that's why I think I'm in this position.
Do you think this means the end of the road for any hope of being president?
Oh, I don't know. Hope of being president?
Meaning when you're Speaker of the House, it's a lot harder to...
That's okay with me. That doesn't really bother me. If I really wanted to be president, I would have run in this cycle for the presidency. I had the chance and opportunity to do so. I chose not to do that. So I'm perfectly happy and content with this decision.
Let's just look forward right now. There are people who want to defund Planned Parenthood. You have a budget deal in place thanks to your predecessor, John Boehner, but you still have to fund the government by December 11th or it will shut down. Will you?
Well, this is what I mean when I say being an effective opposition party. I think being an effective opposition party means being honest with people up front about what it is you can and cannot achieve.
So are you going to tell everybody, sorry guys, we can't defund Planned Parenthood?
I think we need to be very clear about what it is we can and cannot achieve and not set expectations that we know we can't reach given the constraints of the Constitution. But we also have to push issues where we can push issues. We also have to speak truth to power. We have a president that isn't willing to listen, that isn't going to sign lots of our bills into law. We have a Senate that has a very difficult process when it comes to actually getting bills voted on. And so knowing that we have those constraints, we have to operate within those constraints.
What will you say to your caucus about putting a rider in there, defunding Planned Parenthood?
I don't think Planned Parenthood should get a red cent from the taxpayer. I've always believed that. I voted that way before these disgusting videos came out. But I believe we need to do our oversight. We're just beginning to start a committee to investigate Planned Parenthood. That's important. So the special committee on Planned Parenthood, I think, should be in the driver's seat of overseeing this process.
But what will you do about...
Let me just get you there, Dana.
Okay.
Hang on a second.
Okay.
Are we going to let Congress work its will and have amendments come through the process and have regular order where we have conference committees? Yes. By not controlling the process so tightly held here, the speakership, by letting it go forward, I don't know what the outcome is going to be.
You told members of the Freedom Caucus not going to touch immigration reform, something that you worked really hard on. You went out and campaigned with one of the most liberal Democrats in Congress talking about it. Do you see any future for actually getting that done? And why did you make that promise if you want to do big ideas?
Because this president tried to write the law himself. This president went beyond his separation of powers to try and write the law. Presidents don't write laws, Congress writes laws. This president tried to go around Congress to unilaterally write immigration law. So specifically on this issue, you cannot trust this president on this issue. So why would we want to pass legislation on a very divisive issue with a president we can't trust on this issue?
You sparked a national debate when you said one of the reasons you didn't want to take this job is because of your work-family balance. I have to say that when I was reporting on that, I got more response on Twitter, on Facebook, from friends and family all over the country saying, wow, this is interesting that he's talking about this, but what's he going to do about it?
I don't think that sticking up for being a person with balance in your life, for wanting to spend your weekends in your home with your family, which I work with constituents and my family throughout the weekends. I don't think that means, therefore, you should sign up for some new unfunded mandate.
No, and I completely get that, but I think it's more of the fact that women in particular heard you talking like this and said, wow, he gets it. Maybe he can do something about it. And I hear you're saying unfunded mandate, but there are proposals out there to make it work in a way that it's not unfunded.
Well, yeah, flex time. I think we've had some pretty good legislation on flex time, and that's a bill I think is a great idea. So Martha Roby has legislation on giving the flex time legislation that Martha Roby has proposed is to give families more flexibility in their hours.
It's more of a question of, since you are a next generation, you understand how hard it is, because most families, many families, you have two parents working, to bring the policies and laws up to date with modern America.
That's why I would recommend take a look at the Roby flex time bill.
Your office is also your apartment, your bed, the place that you live.
Everybody brings this up.
You're a speaker now. You're really going to still sleep in your office?
Yeah, I'm just a normal guy.
Yeah, but normal guys don't sleep in their offices.
So I live in Janesville, Wisconsin. I commute back and forth every week. I just work here. I don't live here. So I get up very early in the morning. I work out. I work till about 11:30 at night. I go to bed, and I do the same thing the next day. It actually makes me more efficient. I can actually get more work done by sleeping on a cot in my office. I've been doing it for at least a decade, and I'm going to keep doing it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Right. Thanks, Dana.
Appreciate it, Mr. Speaker.
Thanks, Dana.